Hello, hello. Welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. And my fun fold this time for you this morning is the theatre fold. One of my customers asked me if I could do a video sharing this fun fold. So this is my project to show you. Now, it is basically a normal card size, and just through the power of clever paper engineering you can create this fold that slides open. I have done this card before with a nativity scene. It works really nicely with the nativity in the center and the wise men and the shepherds on the side. I've also done it with excuse me, lighthouses. It's great for all sorts of projects, this fold. Now the first thing so this is my project and I have all my supplies already cut, but I want to show you how I've cut the cardstock to start off with. So it takes a full piece of standard cardstock. I'm using Tahitian Tide this time, and here's my trimmer. So I'm just going to use a basic standard base, which this time will be 14.5 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters. Okay, so that's the pieces that you'll use for the base of the card, which is this bit here, and the front of the card, which has your window for your theatre. And I have used the rectangle stitched dies before. On this one I've used the diorama dies. So you've got those two pieces for the front and the back, and then this leftover piece I will also cut 10.5 centimeters, so that's halfway down the length of the paper, and then this bit is used to create the actual curtain mechanism. So it's going to be scored at 3.5 and then 7.3, not quite 7.5. Okay, and the other one 3.5 and 7.3. Okay, so what happens is, let me get that out of your way, these both continually fold around, both of them on both of those score lines, and then when you put them on the base with them both facing out and folded down, they meet in the middle exactly and join up on the sides, and then when you adhere them it creates the curtain. Okay, so that's just how you cut up your piece of basic cardstock to show you. Alright, now we'll start on this card now. As I said, I'm using Paradise Palms, which is full of lovely holiday, palmy, warm and beachy images, which is not what it is today here in Queensland. I'm using the layering diorama dies, and the two diorama dies I'm using for this particular card is the second biggest and about the third smallest. Okay, so those are the two that I'm using for this card. And I'm also using the palms dies to cut out the palm trees and the grass detail. Okay, alright, if I pop that off to the side there, here's my bits and pieces already cut out. Another important part of this card actually too is these little rails for the sliding mechanism, so those are the ones there, but you'll see how I put them together later. Okay, so I've already done my die cut for my diorama, so that can be popped aside. That's the front of my card there. As I said, they're the two rails for the slider mechanism, and here's my two folded pieces, scored pieces. So I'm going to fold them around, ready. 1, 2, ready to go. Now I have, where to put all this stuff, so I have inside my smaller die cuts. I've already die cut that one. That one's rubbish. Can set that aside. I've also cut out some of the palm trees and bits and pieces and the grass ready to go. These are my 2 panels for the side for my stamping. This is the panel for the back of my card. Like most of my Fun Fold cards, I've always got a panel on the back for your greeting. So I need to stamp and sponge these guys. There's my other 2 palm trees, and there's my card base. Alright, so I can start by folding these guys. So I'm only going to put adhesion on that small 3.5 piece there, and then I'm going to pop them both on so that meets exactly in the middle, that little fold though. So even if you overlap just a tiny bit on the back, they need to meet very neatly in the middle. Okay, so I can pop that on. Actually, I'll use the Seal Plus for this. 1, 2. Okay, pop that one on the edge. I'll pop that one right on the edge. Alright, so that's like that. And this one here, just on that little flap there. And then this one I'm going to butt straight up against that so that it matches exactly, and that matches up there. Okay, so there's the basic card fold. So before I do anything else, I'm probably going to do all my stamping on my bits and pieces so I can put my card together. I have got quite a lot of sponging to create my beautiful beachy images here, and I've just got my sponging mask that I use for lots of things. Hello again, Nanette. I've tried to set up my device so I can see my video, but it's just not, I'm just not very good at it. I can't seem to set it up so I can see comments or anything. So I apologise if I don't acknowledge you. It's not that I don't want to say hello, it's just that I can't see my phone because it's above me. Alright, so I'm going to start this sideways. To create my lines nice and straight, I'm going to use my grid paper here, right there, and where will I put my beach? About there, there, halfway, and I'm using Tahitian Tide, this beautiful new blue, put you all the way there, and a blending brush, and just going to add beautiful blue to my, whoops, to my beachy images. It's looking very beachy so far, is it? I need to have lots of colour there to cover up all my splodgy bits. Luckily I'll be stamping over that later, so it won't be too bad. So I'm putting them together so that when they are both attached to the theatre curtains, they will match up just nicely. Okay, alright, how's that look? That looks pretty watery to me. Okay, while I'm doing my Tahitian Tide, I'll also add my little diorama piece. I might put that bit down there, I think, and I might not make that quite as high for the diorama piece because it's going to be further inside the card. Okay, there we go. That's all of my Tahitian Tide sponged. Oh, actually, no, one more piece for the back of the card for the writing panel. Just a little bit right down the bottom. And I don't think I'll add more ink to my brush. I'll just use what's already on my brush because I just want soft colour for my writing panel. Okay, actually I do have to add some ink because it's running out pretty fast, isn't it? There we go. Alright, while I've got this one, I'll just pop this around here and I will add a little bit of colour. I mean, I probably for the top I don't necessarily need to be too stringent because it is the sky after all, and I'm using Pumpkin Pie and Poppy Parade, which I used on a card not long ago actually, and it worked really well for. Okay, I'm doing it differently to my other one. I'm just going to add a bit of more atmospheric sky on that one, and a little bit of Poppy Parade as well. Just to add a bit more depth of colour. Okay, that'll do for the back of my card. Rightio, now these guys, these ones, I do need to add my mask onto my piece. I'll add the Poppy Parade first. And then a bit of, oh, sorry, Pumpkin Pie first, and then a bit of Poppy Parade to give it some extra depth. Okay, look at that. I forgot to put the sun in. Wow. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Where did I leave my mask? I left my masks. Oh, here's my mask. So let's try an experiment. I'm going to put my mask back on. There's my little circle mask using the masking paper and the little sun dye from the dies, and I'll add more Poppy Parade around that bit and see if that highlights the sun a bit more. There we go. Nearly like the other one, not quite, but nearly. Okay, and then my other two pieces back up here again, and add my mask over the top. Pumpkin Pie first. Listen to my jacket. I've got a very, very warm jacket on because it's quite chilly up here for us wussy Queenslanders. But the only thing is my jacket's very noisy. Let's see if I can fix up all of those splodgy bits and pieces with my Poppy Parade over the top and blend them in. Alright, how's that look? It's not too bad. Okay, now what else do I need to do while I'm stamping? I usually like to do all of the stamping together. Alright, the next thing I want to do is, I'll just put this way, I'm going to stamp a whole bunch of trees using the marker 2 stamp technique. So I'm using soft suede for the tree trunks and garden green for the leaves. Alright, give them a bit of a breath and stamp them on. I've got to do this several times. Make sure I use the brush tip end to create my palm tree paradise, paradise palms, like the name of the stamp set says. We actually have quite a few very tall palm trees at our home, and they really do make our place feel very tropical. Palm trees mixed in with gum trees and a few rainforest trees as well, and fruit trees. So veritable, I live in a very bushy place, so I'm very fortunate. Okay, and then some more over this side. Okay. Sorry, it's a bit boring watching me do this bit. That's all I'll do there. And just check on the, I've got to put a couple on my writing panel, which is over here on either side, just to create a bit of interest there. And I did try to do this on an ink pad, but didn't quite get the same difference of colour that I wanted. So the marker to stamp technique is a really great technique for images like this. It does work really well, those Stampin' Write markers with that lovely, exactly the same tone as the ink pads, nice water base, so it works really well. This technique will not work with your stamping blends. They're far too dry and they'll probably just wreck your stamp. Okie dokie. And while I'm here, I'll stamp with my greeting as well, which is hope you find a little paradise wherever you may be. There we go. So there's the panel for the back of my card. Now I want on my front of my card this wishing you a warm and beachy kind of day. Now I have to be a little bit strategic about this because I want it to show up around with the frame. So I'm going right on the edge there and hoping that that works properly there. And the last thing to stamp is on the inside of my theatre. I've created a little bit of a sunshiny ripple on the ocean using pumpkin pie and the grass stamp from the step set. And I'm just going to stamp that a couple of times. There we go. There's the ripples from the sunset. Okay, I think I've done all that. Now we're up to the fun part, which is the assembly. Let's get all my blending brushes out of the way so I don't end up with stuff all over the place. Okay, so let's start putting our bits and pieces together. Pop that one there. Now I'll pop these inside my card. Ready, so they both fit inside like that. There we go, one on either side and one in the middle. And while I've got the card like this without the frame on it is the easiest way to put things together. So I've got some trees on the inside. I'm just going to trim in between these leaves strategically and put some adhesive. Actually, I'll use this one, my wet glue on the back of the trees. Stick that in. one on this side, just sort of tuck that under there a bit, and then the other on the other side. A bit of wet glue down there, tuck that bit under there a bit. There we go, so that's the inside of the card done. And there's the curtains to fold inside. Now is the magic of the theatre frame. Okay, so this is the way we're going to do it here. Now I have made my edges just a little bit bigger than the actual frame. Some people will cut that off, but I like to have the bit to be able to pull it out, and I find it doesn't get lost under the slider as well. Alright, now the sliding mechanism has not been scored or anything like that. Basically, I'm just going to wrap it around and fold it over the top so that it's not too tight. Alright, and then I'll add my seal to those two flaps there. Alright, and then pop that underneath and line that up exactly on the outside edge there and there. Okay, so that should slide okay. Whoops, didn't stick that very well, did I? That should slide okay. And the reason why I have these guys a little bit longer so that it doesn't fall off, because sometimes they can slide right off. Why is that not slipping? Have I put some glue? No, there we go. So, okay, so that should be able to pull through like that. I must have made it a bit too tight, I think. So, let's pull that down a bit so it's not quite as tight. Right, okay. And then the same with the other side. Wrap it around, try not to do it too tight, a fold, and then put your seal on those two little tabs, and then fold that over, under, and attach those tabs just underneath your front frame. Alright, let's have a look, see how we're going here. That one's still a little bit, there we go, oops. That one's still a little bit tight on that side. Not quite sliding. There we are, that's better. Okay, so there's the sliding mechanism done. Okay, you pull it across like that. And now all we need to do is put on a couple of trees and make it all look beautiful. So this tree has a little bit on there, a little bit on the top. So, whoops, there we are, that tree's like that. And then this one, most of the way up. This is the one I got to watch where I put my fronds so that I don't cover up the greeting. Okay. Probably should. Oh, good grief. There we are. Holding it for a bit while it glues. This is why I like seal, because it glues pretty fast. There we go. And then I'll choose the smaller set of fronds for this side, I think. And just holding that like that, making sure my fronds don't interrupt that greeting. Okay, and then just a little bit on there. That one goes on this side. And last of all, I'm going to put some grass down the bottom of my picture. I think I'll use some mini dimensionals for that, just to make it stand up a bit. Be a bit of fun. and oh, 2, 3. Okay, pop this one on. And put that there. And then this one. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue where it overlaps so that it sticks onto the other one. Pop this one over here. There we go. There's my card complete. My theatre pop-up fold. Oh, we didn't put the greeting on the back, did we? Where did I put that? Oh, here it is, way over here. There it is. I hope you find a little paradise wherever you may be. Paradise in the craft room today. There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Give that a go. As I said, a full piece of cardstock cut in half lengthwise, and then the smaller pieces for your front and back, and then the slightly longer pieces for the curtain slider mechanism. Got a bit of glue on that. There we go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're inspired and you'll give it a go. Bye bye now.